Crockett Colts, and here are your daily announcements.
If you
come prepared every day, obey the rules, laugh often, and take care of each other, success will follow. Here's a message from our counselors.
When it comes time to settle down and study, do you need help just getting started? Believe it or not, it's sometimes the hardest part. Maybe you can't get motivated, you feel overwhelmed, or you don't even know where to begin. So, what do? Well, first, don't give up.
The point of studying is to gain that information that you're going to need to be prepared for the next time you go to class. Because you don't want to be reactive in a class situation. You want to be proactive. When you walk into that classroom, you want to have read the material that you were assigned to read so that you can be a full participant as a class member.
Start small, like reading one chapter instead of a whole book, or tackling a decade in history rather than a century. Smaller tasks seem a lot easier to accomplish than bigger ones, and keep you from being overwhelmed. As you study, you'll review notes and any class handouts or other reading material. Pay special attention to information likely to appear on a test. Other secrets to remembering what you study? Some experts suggest simple repetition when facts and details are memorized by rote. Recitation, saying the information out loud, is also very helpful. So is association, linking information to knowledge you already have. Mental visualization is picturing an image in your mind that illustrates the material you want to remember. The ancient Greeks used mnemonics, where rhymes, images, and acronyms work together to aid memory. Remember the old saying, I before E except after C? Well, that's a mnemonic.
My anatomy teacher actually told us if you repeat something 15 times, you'll most likely remember it the next day or something like that. I'm like, okay, maybe that works for you, but not for me. But like, yeah, writing it down and looking at it more than twice throughout the whole day.
It also helps to understand your learning style. Some students are visual learners. That means seeing it helps them remember it. Others learn best by doing, and still others by hearing.
Well, the first thing I always tell my students is that learning styles is nothing hard and fast. And somebody will say, I'm a verbal learner, I can't learn from what I see. That's not true. We can always adapt to what we are.
Knowing what study smarts work best for you, as well as your likes, dislikes, and unique needs, can make learning a lot easier. For instance, do you prefer studying alone?
Advantages of studying by yourself is whenever you want to do something, you can do it. You don't have anybody else saying, no, let's do this, or we can do that later. Sure, friends are fun to be around, but sometimes they can be a distraction. They won't be around you to like kind of get you off subject, because that kind of happens a lot.
Studying in groups can also be useful, especially if you want to compare notes, quiz each other, and share problem solving.
It really helps because if you don't understand a certain thing, you can ask another person and maybe one of your friends knows, and maybe they can explain it on a better level than a teacher or something, and they can quiz you, you can quiz them. It helps for you to remember the material. And it's also fun. I mean, it's not like really boring in class studying and stuff. You're with your friends.
When you are creating a study group, there are some rules that I tell my students. Make sure you're all motivated to get the same grade. The A students will be working really hard. If somebody else in the group just wants to float, he's probably not going to do his share. Everybody needs to read everything. What tends to happen is somebody says, you read chapter 1, I'll read chapter 2, you read chapter 3. No, you need to read all 3 chapters, but you become the expert in chapter 3 yourself.
Whether you study in a group or by yourself, concentration is key. Now that means turning off the TV, tuning out the stereo, and staying away from the telephone.
Having a place to learn is important because it gets into your head the idea of this is my learning space.
I definitely go to the same place at the same time just because it's easier, like, okay, because then if you're not, like, If you go back to some place where you were learning about something and you go back there, then you'll be like, oh, I remember sitting here and reading this page.
Make sure you have everything you need: pens and pencils, paper, books, and a clear, flat surface to work on. Set study goals. What do you want to achieve in each subject or class? How much time will you devote for how many chapters or pages? Setting goals that are specific as well as realistic and writing them down really does work.
Saying, I want to get a better grade in a class sounds nice, but it doesn't really define much. When you set goals, you need to make them small and measurable. My first goal is to get so much read every night. I'm not going to procrastinate.
Work towards success, but don't take on more than you can handle. And remember, it's okay to study in small blocks of time. Longer periods may wear you out or leave you distracted. You may even get bored, so take a break if it helps. Stretch your legs, eat a snack, step outside, or try studying for a different class. It's important to figure out what works best for you and then stick with it.
I tell students to plan on a little bit of each subject every day so that you never get behind. We tend to say, oh, I need to do this homework, it's due. Then I need this homework, it's due. And we're not keeping up with our other subjects.
Try and get all the hard stuff out of the way. Go to the easy stuff, and then when you're done with that, you can go back to the hard stuff. Because it's kind of like a video game. Like if you're having trouble with it for like 2 days, you stop, give it a week's rest, you come back, and you beat it with no problem.
Being an otter is pretty cool. I mean, check out my home. But that all changed when the black stuff came. I washed up on shore, alone, lost. If I'm gonna find my way home again, I will need help. Find My Otter Half at your Scholastic Book Fair.
In 1943, the Nazis invaded the city of Bratislava and took any Jews they could find. Herta Myers was Jewish, but she was also deaf. She couldn't hear the soldiers when they came. She had to rely on her sister to be her ears. Signs of Survival is an amazing true story. Find it at your Scholastic Book Fair.
Join us tomorrow for more daily announcements.